Now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, welcome everybody to this Friday before Christmas. Glad you were able to join us. We know it's a lot of things going on with the holidays and people doing shopping, but very good to have you here. And this is we have two webinars today. This is the first of two, and as we close out 2014. Our first webinar with Chris a couple weeks ago went very well, and we had some wonderful feedback. And Chris, who is a great contributor and partner of Social Media Monthly, um, is going to be presenting again today, and we're very happy to have him back. And he is going to be presenting on how to take control of your online reputation. So, Chris, with that, I'm going to make you the presenter and hand it over to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity during the Christmas tide to share what I know about online reputation management and how to take control of your reputation online, including how to respond to negative attacks. So here's a lot of information you might want to know about me. I'm principal consultant at Garris Corp. Basically what I do is I do social media outreach, but I also do reputation response. If you go to slideshare.net/Chris Abraham, you'll be able to see this deck that I'm using now. And I hope to upload a recording of this potentially to YouTube and on top of SlideShare down the road. So here we go. Introduction to online reputation management. What is your online reputation exactly? Well, in this context, online reputation is how you're perceived in search, whether it's Google search, whether it's contextual search, whether it's in Bing or even any place that you find things online, including the press, newspapers, journals, and so forth. What people say about your company on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media sites is your online reputation. Reviews of your company or work environment, such as things like on any type of review site, such as even things like eBay, etc. Anything published in the mainstream media, academic or trade publications, obviously local review sites, any photos or videos tagged with your name, academic or trade publications, public records connected to your business. Luckily, most people engage with your brand directly using search, and most people never go beyond the first page, and most people never click beyond the first 5 results. People are pretty lazy when they're looking for you, and when they look, they do cursory searches. When you look, you probably go down the rabbit hole and look for the top 5 pages in terms of your personal or corporate reputation. But as you know, the web is forever, so there's an opportunity to go ahead and change that reputation by taking control of your search results. People search pretty lazily. 53% of users don't go past the first 2 results of any given search. That includes sponsored posts or sponsored results, contextual ads, and so forth. So if you can look at the heat map here, people are looking at those highlighted pink, reddish pink sponsored results, even though they're clearly marked in a different background color, highlight color, and also intentionally mentioned as being sponsored by. 89% of users don't go past page 1, and 99% don't go past page 2. Most people click on the first thing they find appealing, and most people do not have discernment. I'd say 50% of people don't have discernment between sponsored advertisement and organic results. So I'm going to teach you organic online reputation management, but if you are really being slammed and if you have the budget for it, or even if you don't think you have the budget for it, during the amount of time it takes to get back the top search results, it would be smart maybe to consider doing some counter messaging with paid search. The importance of online reputation. more than 80% of reputation damage risk comes from a mismatch between the buzz and the reality. Now, that's important because if you say that you are moral, ethical, and a good business person, and people find out that you're not, that rift is what creates the noise that creates the negative results. People who are in line with their vision, their ability, and their skill sets tend not to have such negative results unless those results are initiated by competitors, which is still something to consider and not outside the realm of possibility. Reputation risk is the greatest risk facing companies. 75% of a company's value is based on reputation. You might not be able to control that in your neighborhood, but you can find ways of controlling that online very easily. It is a real bugger if you are not in line with your real reputation. The best thing to do is to get in line and repair issues that the world is having with regards to your brand. But you can, if you fight hard enough and put enough money in, you can even deal with issues that haven't been resolved yet. 92% of internet users read product reviews, and 89% of people say that reviews influence their purchasing decision. So getting right online, or at least getting in front of people online, is important. One of the biggest problems people have with regards to negative reputation, especially when it comes to executives, is that executives, businesses who don't have anything nice to say or don't have anything nice said about them tend to stay offline. And that creates a huge vacuum that is then populated by negative things said by other people. So this entire presentation is about you being the master of your fate, creating content and basically putting energy into dominating at least your top 5 results, if not your first 2 pages of search results online. 86% of auto dealerships with few online reviews or negative average scores saw their search referral traffic drop by as much as 86%. A difference of 1 star in a rating of a typical online business can lead to 5 to 9% difference in revenues. 72% of consumers trust online review as much as word of mouth. 85% of consumers conduct online research before making a purchase, and 89% trust online reviews. Consumers are 25% more likely to research online reviews for high-cost purchases such as automobiles. ORM threats. Rumors can have serious impacts on your online reputation, right? So the worst thing in the entire world is the predictive search. Predictive search makes truth. I used to work for Reputation.com. I am now have my own organization, my own online reputation management and promotional company. But when I worked for Reputation.com, they spent millions of dollars developing ways of fighting predictive text search results such as this. Suggestions pop up because many people are just curious about a rumor, and those social signals tend to reinforce results. High search volume creates feedback loop. In other words, Google just gives people what they want. Google is in no way responsible for enforcing truth. It follows fantasy, follows interest, follows curiosity, and those behaviors reinforce those results. So avoiding those kinds of things is the best, prevention is the best medicine, but there are ways of finding ways of breaking through on this. Unfortunately, when you start to go down the rabbit hole, the results start reinforcing clicks, and then it becomes self-fulfilling prophecy. But the web is forever. For example, Wells Fargo First Interstate takeover. There were terrible major blunders such as the Wells Fargo takeover of First Interstate Bancorp live in the search results. Critical articles from the 90s continue to rank prominently. Becomes a permanent black mark for anyone doing research on Wells Fargo. So no matter how old content is, Google isn't like the New York Times or the Washington Post. They don't archive old articles and then make you sign up or pay or register in order to look at them. Interesting content, whether it's old, if it's not replaced by new compelling content, tends to stay at the top based on the interaction of the user on those search results. So if you go to the search and it's still like this, and you go down, you're looking, and then you click on that and say, First Interstate Bancorp files suit against Wells Fargo, you click that, and that is a social signal to Google to go ahead and say, well, people are still interested in this old content. I am going to make an adjustment in the algorithm to encourage this content to come up. Your job in this online reputation management space is to create content that is more compelling. I call it, you need to create fresh donuts. You need to create hot, fresh donuts. You need to be able to put the sign in the window that says, donuts hot, donuts hot. And this is what we're going to be doing in this webinar. Search results are not chronological. This is not a search on the New York Times. This is not fair. The most recent things don't necessarily happen in a linear fashion. The most compelling things, the most clicked on things, the most, and I hate to say it, but the stuff on the fastest servers tends to come up on top. And Google abhors a vacuum. I'll talk about this later. So if you, as the focus of this attack, aren't willing to come in with compelling content of your own, and if Google can't find stuff about you, it's going to get really loopy looking. It'll even find things that are not about you, but are about someone with a similar name or with a company with a similar name. Google really goes down the rabbit hole when it comes to finding content quickly. There's positive, high-quality validations by third party.
Hey, Chris.
The DE yes?
You dropped out for about 20 seconds, so you can just cover the last part before you change slides.
Did I really? Oh, bummer. I'm sorry.
No, we got most of this slide, just the last 20 seconds, last couple sentences.
Okay, sure. The point is here is that you need to create positive content, you need to create relevant content, because if you don't, Google goes down a rabbit hole looking for content that in any way is both attractive and contains the keywords that people are looking for. So if you do not populate your own positive or neutral content, if you don't play a constant part in new and fresh and compelling and interesting, Google, and if you go ahead and create a vacuum, Google will populate that vacuum about a news item or something people are searching on with similars, with people similar to your name, with people who have similar companies to yours. Did that cover that?
Yes,
Anybody
Chris.
hear me?
Yeah, Chris, we're okay. You're okay. Keep going.
All right, thank you. Results can reflect old news, like I just said. Outdated news, as long as it's compelling, you need to pile on new, fresh, compelling, interesting news on top. And I'll go into that right now. But Google does not, like I said about Washington Post and the New York Times, Google does not archive old news. If people start clicking on it, or if Google only has 5 good results and the rest is their attempt to populate 1,000 results, Google will go down the rabbit hole and find those outdated things. Unfortunately, if a news item breaks and you don't have that first 1 or 2 page controlled with positive or neutral results, people will start clicking on old results, which will empower those through social signals. When Google talks about social signals, they don't only mean Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. They mean interaction with the content on the page, which is why I'll tell you in a second if something awful happens, make sure everybody in your company doesn't click on negative results because you are just reinforcing their social signals. propagation of misinformation. For example, the whole concept of Monsanto buying out Whole Foods Market. People search for Monsanto, things of predictive search, and people see Whole Foods, and the results strongly suggest Whole Foods was bought by or supports Monsanto. And clever SEO people who want to create, general content, Google bait, will find those. They spend a lot of time and energy messing around with similar searches, messing around for any kind of suggestion that these comparisons exist, and creating content in support of that. This is not, what is it called in grad school? It's you don't have to be true. You don't have to be verified. You just have to be perceived as being interesting. There's a reputation economy. I hate Vodafone Forum. The web gives powerful tools to consumers to validate corporate communications. Online reputation often more important than brand. So if people start making fun of you, Comcast sucks, Vodafone sucks, unless you have good information that can trump that, or like I say in many cases, can counter-message that or countermand that, including contextual ads, you're going to lose the popularity competition. There's no equivalent of the check mark that Twitter or Facebook or Google Plus can give you that says that this is verified content. Anything can win. Google just wants to make money, and so they will give the best, quickest content up based on previous searches and the social signals. Key people affect a company's reputation. What I recommend is, if you have a company and your employees and your C-suite and your executives don't have control of their domain names, buy it for them, put in their contract that if they ever leave the company, they can leave with the domain name. But make sure you control everybody who works for you, at least in terms of their brand reputation. Make sure everybody has LinkedIn, etc. Because key people influence your reputation in a larger level. Style. Critical news articles highlight tension between company and Carl Icahn, for example, Forest Laboratories. ORM is not SEO. Negative content is also optimized for your search results. So you need to make sure that that you cover and you understand that not only will there be search results if your particular contest becomes newsworthy, if people are starting to cover you in online news and visual news, etc., you need to be realized that you need to engage and handle that. And if you don't engage turmoil, or if you haven't immunized yourself in terms of the top search results, you will not be able to handle a media onslaught. Waiting several days to respond gives negative press more time to take over the search results. Online brand attacks by consumers as well. You might be able to own. People are very proud that they can own their #1 search result, but attacks on forums and social media are powerful things. We don't even think of online forums and message boards as viable places of conversation. But if you think of places like Reddit or good old days of Dig or Slashdot, these are quasi forms of citizen journalism, of discussion. These are very textually high count and very attractive platforms, and they tend to be enterprise level, so they respond quickly to search. So you don't only have to worry about Twitter and Facebook for your online reputation. You need to go ahead and find and make sure that you dominate the first dominate the top first 2 pages of Google to the best of your ability before something like this happens, because it's hard to fight off, if you will, Dig or Reddit or any type of online community such as I don't know. Dig and Reddit are important. Back in the day, I belonged to a couple message boards. And the textuality inherent with message boards are really important, and you need to be wary of them, but you also need to make sure that you dominate and strongly armor your top 2 pages of search. You have to watch out for defamatory attacks by former clients. Even if libel is proven, websites likely will remain online. You can use litigation to scare people. It certainly oftentimes works, but in many cases, quite often, people who are attacking you have very little concern for their reputation long term. So be sure that when you deal with something legally, that you are willing to understand the risks associated with blowback. And if you get, I mean, Google's become better and better at rendering ratings in line with search results. So the visual return of, for example, lawyer rating, lawyerratings.com, if there's an inline version of stars, you have to be very careful. Mistaken identity, like I was saying before, if people are searching for Chris Abraham, and if there's an evil Chris Abraham, then I have to also be careful about what that evil Chris Abraham is doing, and I have to double down and make sure that good Chris Abraham, i.e. me, dominates the first 2 pages of search results, because I need to push down, evil Chris Abraham. I'm lucky. Under Chris Abraham, I have this amazing Canadian Toronto playwright and director. But if there were an evil Chris Abraham who went in and out of prisons, then I would need to make sure that I guarded my top results. Now, here's how to armor your online reputation before a crisis. So here's your practical information. I hope we have everybody on board now, because this is where the rubber hits the road. Google abhors a vacuum. Like I was saying before, if you've decided to be discreet online and you do not engage in social media, do not engage in meta sites like, like front pages of Google pages or YouTube, etc. Google abhors a vacuum, and so you need to make sure that you populate as many things as you can. I'll go into details about this in a while. There's some really great tools that at least allow you to lay claim to many different social sites, blogs, informational sites, and so forth, so that you can at least start building your reputation online in order to armor yourself against attack. You can't leave it to chance. Google fills a void, and it always fills a void in a very bizarre manner. You need to hide a needle in a needle stack. Controlling and owning your reputation online depends on pushing negative content down past page 3 of Google. You need to own all the beans. Users typically retain their browser defaults sent to 10 results page. I mean, I know you can do it down to 100, but most people leave everything by default. They also have the censorship on, so they only see a controlled amount of results. Generally, people don't go past page 2. Remember that 93% of people never go beyond the first page of search engine results, and no one goes beyond page 3. So online reputation management is akin to defensive SEO. People are already talking about you online. Listen before you leave. Get to know what people are saying about you online. Be specific. Include your staff and executives, and don't make any assumptions. It's really easy to set up keyword alerts on Google. That's a great start, and it's free. There are also tools such as Radian6, Sysomos, Synthesio, and SDL SM2, which is what I personally use. And you need to know what people are saying to you. Include your staff and executives. Don't make any assumptions. People make assumptions all the time with regards to their search results for their promotion. You can't make any search results with regards to your protection. You need to become allies to the best of your ability with the people who are already saying nice things about you. You need to protect yourself so that if you're really attacked, you can tap your natural allies and engage them. And then keep an eye on those people who tend to be critical in a quiet way, because if they ever get ahead of steam, they can go ahead and start buying domains, and they can start creating blogging content, and they can really, if one person with a blog takes an interest in you, it's really hard to get them off you. Alerts, get some alerts. Google Alerts are free. There's Sysomos Heartbeat, there's SDL SM2, there's Synthesio, there's Radian 6. Make sure that you set all of these things up so they send you alerts. It's very important to be aware, not only preventatively when you create content. When you create content, you need to be smart enough to realize how to create content that includes all of the keywords. It's like, defensive SEO. You need to include all the potential keywords that someone who's going to attack you would use in prevention before they attack. You can learn from people attacking you and then integrate those words and keywords and phrases into your defensive content. General principles. Prevention is more effective and less expensive than treatment. Aim to control as many of the search results as possible. Like we said, most people don't go past page 1. And remember, advertisement on top includes as those results. Diversity is important. Choose several types of sites. Empty search results create vulnerability. Google abhors a vacuum. It'll put in crazy stuff. Avoid clicking on negative critical websites, which increases their relevance. And be proactive with online reviews. Find ways to engage them. Find ways to counter message. Find ways to engage and solve. Because you can engage and solve and make them go away. I saw very recently we launched a new book. Not me, but my client launched a book called Search Engine Marketing, and it was really interesting because we were getting some negative things because the launch happened early and so forth, and we kind of dealt with them very well, and it was very interesting to watch. So you can actually realize that people are doing negative things are human, and you can engage with them, solve their problems, and actually make them proponents for you.
Hey, Chris, if I can interject. So I've got 2 questions from the audience based on a couple items you're talking about right now.
Sure.
The first is the tools that you are covering are not really relevant, such as Radian 6 for small businesses and solopreneurs and professionals. Can you recommend some others?
Well, I think Google Alerts. If you are Google Alerts are a perfect tool to keep track. I mean, and it depends on, if you don't have a high revenue, the possibility of you being attacked is relatively low. It seems to be that even high-earning individuals, and just keeping track, doing searches yourself. I mean, Google Alerts are a really important tool, but keeping things like persistent searches on tools like TweetDeck or free tools, doing searches on your own. I know that everybody does vanity searches are important things, and I don't know what to tell you. I mean, a lot of these tools, it depends on where you spend your money. I always think to people, if anybody rents an office, an office space for $1,000 or more a month, they can afford, $250 for Radian 6 or for Sysomos or for SDL or for Synthesio. So it depends where you put your money. You put your money into paying a down payment on your Jeep Grand Cherokee or paying your monthly rent, and you're not willing to pay a few $100s to follow your reputation. That's just misallocation of funds, right? So, but Google Alerts is an amazing tool. You just have to understand Google, and you have to set up those alerts, and you have to keep track of them. But also, don't forget that Google Alerts are just Google searches, and you can do persistent searches on your own if you add that and you want to, do the cheap seats. Most people probably. Sorry.
Yeah. So let me get to the other question, Chris.
Sure.
And I'll let you keep going. But and you might be getting to this. But how can you change the Google suggest searches that you showed earlier, and I think they are referring to the predictor search that you were demonstrating.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I know that I hate to promote reputation.com, but I think that they have like a super tool that can actually help the prediction, which is a real pain in the butt for a lot of people. The only way I know how to do that is draw fire away from it and create replacement content in the first 2 pages. Here's something that people don't think about when they come to an online reputation management company. Not even, reputation.com promises any search result changes for 90 days. It takes 90 days to turn a negative ship, which is why preventative content creation is more important than defense. You need to go ahead, you need to build, you need to dominate your first 1 or 2 pages of Google as kind of an inoculation well before you are attacked. If you're attacked now and you retain me or you retain reputation.com, they'll ask for a big front-loaded payment, and they will make you sign up for 6 months or a year, and then they will give you no guarantee for 3 months, which is 90 days. And so in that time, there will be some changes in the results, but really there's no guarantee of effective, strong defense for at least 90 days, and it can be up to 6 months, which is really disheartening for people who feel like that they can come to me or a company like Reputation and quickly, click a button and change things. And Reputation has a huge infrastructure, much greater than anybody else in the business. So it's better to go ahead and armor your reputation well ahead of it by creating content and blogging and creating social media outlets and populating them and using keywords intentionally, and even buying search engine marketing ads, contextual ads through Google and so forth, than it is to wait until you get into a wreck. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah. Chris, I have myself muted, so if I take a second, it's because I'm
No problem.
muting myself. But no, I think that's great for
No
now.
problem.
I'll let you move forward.
All right. So where was I? Prevention is more effective and less expensive than treatment. Aim to control as many search results as possible. Diversity is important. Many types of sites. Empty searches results create vulnerability. Avoid clicking on negative critical websites. Like I said, no matter how you're tempted, if something awful happens, get everybody off of search. Clicking on any negative search result is a social signal to Google. And be proactive with online reviews, like I said. Actions need to match words. That's the biggest thing. The biggest problem is if you are out of sync with what you say you do and what you do. If you're a scoundrel, you'll never have good results. You better have $1 million to spend on contextual search defensive advertising because you're a scoundrel. Pay close attention to public sentiment. You can get ahead of these negative results. Most people cry wolf or cry foul 3 times. They really want to give you the benefit of the doubt, and it takes a lot of time and energy to start obsessively hating on you. Proactive online reputation to protect against attacks or misunderstanding. Ongoing high-quality interaction with stakeholders. People, engage them, and it's much harder. People tend to only say negative things in review, so reach out to the people you are friends and family with and try to get them and encourage them to write positive things on your behalf. Beg and plead, because most people only really go negative and they very rarely go positive. But they won't do it of their natural tendency. You need to ask, and ask modestly and honestly and openly. And then expect things to fall. I mean, if they don't really like you and you ask them, then they might give you a lukewarm thing, or you might tear off a scab, and they might go ahead and attack you. But I mean, with personal experience, if you can activate people on your behalf, you're better off. Do an aggressive domain name buy, including misspellings, variation domains, similar domains, extensions .co, .uk, .co, etc., transpose letter domains, misspelling domains, and have those, even if you don't activate them or map them onto your site. I mean, Squarespace makes it super easy. You can map all kinds of domains onto your site. You can have 20 of them or 10 of them. Most sites allow you to do that. Most web hosts allow you to redirect domains, or you can just keep those in your pocket so people don't buy them. You know, Chris Abraham sucks, I think I owned for a number of years. You can do search strings, keyword terms and phrases that one might use to find your company and register as many of them as possible. Like I said before, own all of your staff domains, or make sure that if they do have domains already, make sure that they're populated in a positive way. And also get unfriendly domains. Like at $9 a year is cheaper than any crisis response or legal action. Get them all. Get them all. And then dominate the first page of Google. Control all possible social media profiles. This company, Noam, Noam.com, allows you to very quickly and easily completely own every social media variations you want. I mean, if you only have Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, you can go to Noam and spend hundreds of dollars, but knowing that every single one of those profiles, social media profiles, will be not only registered, but populated to a minimum viability. You give them you know, pictures, you give them URLs, you give them copy, and they'll either do it or you can do it yourself. It's very super awesome. It's a little expensive, but it's not as expensive as the other things. You know, if all you have is time, go ahead and do that for everybody. Keep all your login and password information in a spreadsheet, and you're good to go. But if you don't have time or expertise, go out and check Noam. I'm not associated with them at any financial level, but they're my secret weapon. Review sites. Encourage your customers to say nice things about you. Make it as easy as possible to write reviews. Name the preferred review sites by name. I just did that for you know, for a client. I reached out to everybody I did a blogger outreach to and said, hey, awesome, would you mind going ahead and writing reviews? Basically give them everything they need. You know how like when you were in high school and you need a review for college, a letter for college, or you were in undergrad and you need a letter for grad school? You would basically do all the work for your professor, for your dean, and they would just sign their name, you know, make a couple edits. Make it as pre-masticate it for them. Don't be shy to make bold requests for reviews. Display it at point of sale or in stores, in a message on a sales receipt, as part of official messaging via Google Mail or newsletters, or via social media. Social networking services, they're super important, but some are more important than others. Google Plus page is the least popular, but maybe the most important in influencing Google's organic search results. It gives you a Google profile. You need to go ahead, and even though this is a little bit, you know, this is a little bit outdated, a little bit, but still, you can go to your profile page and you can say you're a contributor to all of the organs that you're connected to. For example, socialmedia.biz, Biznology, Huffington Post, Ad Age, Rosetta Stone, Unison Agency, Social Media Today, Social Media Monthly, Business to Community, and Garris Digital. YouTube channel, Get One, #1 search engine besides their organic search on Google. LinkedIn page, Facebook page, not just, you know, Facebook profile, proper page, and your Twitter. You know, you got to start somewhere, and these are very viable first page. I mean, every one of them are optimized for search, and because of their attractiveness and social signals, they oftentimes end up on the first page. If you are trying to protect your brand, don't do it for your name, do it for your brand. Become your own publishing empire. Like I said before, blogging, publishing, aggregation, news source, cross-pollination. You know, you can ask Huffington Post, or you can go to Medium or BuzzFeed or Forbes, and if you are An influencer, you can reach out to them and get them to, and you can publish for them. If you ask Bob Fine, our moderator, very, very, very nicely, and you have good blog content, he might include you in Social Media Monthly. You can always reach out if you're a big dog enough. You can reach out to your local paper and become a news source there. And then there's cross-pollination. You know, you can go ahead and repost things onto your blog and cross-pollinate over Tumblr and over all kinds of other platforms. And then there's influencer marketing. You know, this is what I do mostly at Garris Corp. I find the top 5,000 or 100 people who are the biggest influencers in my space, and I reach out to them and I get to know them. You know, people collect and self-organize. Find them, and don't just find them on, you know, traditional spaces like Facebook, LinkedIn. Go to the LinkedIn groups and the Facebook groups. Go to Pinterest boards. Go to Flickr groups and online forums. Nobody gets any love on online forums. Do blogger outreach, you know. Reach out to people who've talked about you in a positive way, or engage people who've talked about you in a negative or neutral way. And then, of course, you can be a guest blogger, or you can create infographics and share those around. You can create videos and be on YouTube. You can run events. You know who's really good at this? Bob Fine is freaking good at this, my announcer, the man who's the voice in the clouds who introduced this. So if you want to know more about creating a fanfare, you should talk to him, and pledge drives and things like that. Evading damage after crisis. How am I doing on time? I'm a little bit slow, but please bear with me. After a crisis, the first thing you do is put your pens down. Don't click. If you find anything bad online, don't click. Google tracks building interest. Do not speak to the media. Take time to prepare your response. Your response's consequences. Rely on your crisis managers and stay off of Twitter, Facebook, etc. until you come up with a plan. Alert your chain of command. You're probably not properly trained yourself. Call communications and public affairs. They can give you guidance. Prepare or activate your talking point. Many as you can in ally hands or in your hands, so that when something terrible happens, it slides right off and has to fight its way into the top spaces. It's just because something's in the news does not mean it'll end up on search. Remember that. After the news is over, is it still stuck to you, you know, like the poop smell of changing a diaper, you know? Or were you clean? Is all good, you know? You can make sure that the stink does not stay when the news cycle's over. Online reputation management. You need to actively seek out positive and neutral content about your brand that already exists. You need to promote it to all the search engines. You need to create additional positive and neutral content about your brand. And then you need to leverage, after positive pages and content have been identified and created, leverage established Google Mojo. Now, when I was talking to you before about, you know, creating content online, you need to effectively bury negative search results. Those pages we promote climb past the negative pages and push the negative down to a point of results where very few people are ever going to stumble upon them. If you armor your top 2 pages, they'll never make it up there. Positive results keep the search engine attention. We need to create compelling content that stays in the top 2 pages. Salaciousness isn't always the most compelling content. I call them countermeasures, right? So this is where I use countermeasure strategy called soft kill measures. You know, they call it chaff decoys, flare decoys, radar decoys. So creating online reputation management decoys or creating content that's more appealing to people who are searching, dominating the top 2 pages is the most important thing in search. You need to claim yourcompany.com and as many useful variations as possible. You need to fill out profiles on industry listing sites, review sites, social media sites. Like I said, you should definitely not do it yourself. You should use other people's time and other people's tools, even if it costs you a couple $100. Create new content, start a blog, publishing platform of relevance to the business, generate positive press, get involved philanthropically. Be a part of the conversation. The web is going to say something about you, whether you like it or not. Caveat, if Scheisse is hitting the fan now, probably a bad time to start that conversation. Engage in social media, communicate regularly with your stakeholders, respond authentically to their concerns, share information of value, and keep tabs on all the websites connected to your business, especially those you don't control, forums, review sites, and social media. Common mistakes. I'm not going to go over these. You can review them online because I did burn a lot of time talking about these examples. I would prefer to go ahead and have more time for conversation. So you can, don't rely on litigation. ORM is not search engine optimization. Don't rely on litigation. That becomes a story of its own. Do not go for will not review agreements. People go ahead and get you on a wall of shame. Threatening litigation, blows back, sorry. Posting fake reviews, it's illegal. It can be detected algorithmically. It's a short-term, ineffective, long-term solution. You'll get caught up in review, authenticity, arm race, and you'll get found out. If people see a lot of fakes, you risk an online backlash. Commenting on attack blog forum, placing emphasis on an unwanted contest, do not empower the negative results. You will not change the visitor's mind. You'll give him or her attention, and you will attract additional attacks.
So, Chris, let me ask you a question on
Sure.
fake reviews. Is how would you describe the difference between asking and strongly requesting positive reviews from your followers, your customers, and so forth, versus fake reviews? Where do you see the? I mean, in some ways, that's not, when you're proactively trying to get positive reviews, it's not completely organic, but it's not the same as, obviously, as like having your fellow employees writing positive reviews.
Well, if you offer a 50% off coupon if people write positive reviews, that's dodgy. But if you aggressively or persistently ask for reviews and don't say positive reviews, just say, make it very simple that people can write positive, write things about you. There's something interesting that Reputation.com has that's very expensive. They have an algorithm that goes through your email list and your social media list and has a probability judgment based on, how negative Nelly the person is, and they basically give you back an email list or a social media list that only includes the positive people who love you, who have positive tone or whatever. That's a pretty interesting way. You can ask people who love you to write honest reviews, and they'll write probably generally neutral or positive reviews. Or you can just find people, you know who your good clients are, you know who your favorite clients are. I mean, I might ask, Robert Fine for a review for Garris Corp. I mean, aside from some, funny, odd interactions, which is part of friendship, I think that in general you keep on coming back to me as a professional, and so I feel comfortable there. If you don't have any money and you're like, I'm just going to use Google keywords for my alerts and I can't afford Sysomos or whatever, then you do have the time to take an interest in all of the people who've said positive things about you. I mean, this weekend, just go online and find anybody who said something nice about you online or someone you have an affinity with, and then ask them for some help. I mean, here's something that nobody thinks about. There is not one freaking award in the freaking world that isn't paid for in some way. I used to think when I was a kid that all I had to do was be awesome and I would get an award for it, and it's not true. Every single award, Oscars, everything, is a lot of pitching, a lot of promoting, a lot of money, a lot of manipulation, a lot of begging and pleading, and it's even better if you are a sponsor. So nothing is pure. So going out and people are just so shy. Go out and ask your 100 best clients or anybody who signed up for your newsletter for frickin' help. Activate them. Everybody who signed up for your newsletter is probably at least neutral about you. They probably unsubscribed if they think you're awful. So be aggressive and ask for help, and then don't be personally offended when people aren't interested or don't follow through with what they say. But even if you have a 10% return rate, you know, it's still pretty solid. You know, this book I'm promoting, Search Engine Marketing Inc. With Mike Moran and Bill Hunt. We reached out. I reached out to thousands of bloggers to get them to write about this new book, and then I found everybody who ended up replying in a positive way and being interested in helping us. And then I asked them if they'd write a review on Amazon, and we have 15 reviews now, all of which are 5 stars. There's 1 4-star. And then we had a 2-star, and we addressed the issue, which was there wasn't an updated Kindle version, and so we fixed that, made the person happy, and before the book was even launched, Search Engine Marketing Inc. Like we had, I don't even know how many there are now, maybe even 25-star reviews from people all in the industry. They wouldn't have just wandered into doing that. I had to activate them. Mike Moran, Bill Hunt, and you know. And the gang had to go out with their hat in their hand and say, I know you guys from work, I know you guys from play, I know you guys from the business, I know you guys from previous versions of the book. You would really do me a solid if you went on to you know, Amazon and wrote a review. I'm not telling you what to review, but go for it. It would really help. And I'm not telling you to write 5 stars. Everybody wrote 5 stars. People so desperately want to help you. Just let them. And it can feel shameless or embarrassing, and people don't want to tell you that you don't look good in those jeans. But the truth is, people will tell you look good in those jeans, even if you look awful in those Daisy Duke cutoffs. You know, people accept the meanies, like if you really hurt someone, but if you do them solid, they just won't do it organically. They'll do it naturally. But you need to put a little bit of a fire under their Daisy Dukes.
So Chris, we're coming up to the top of the hour. We do have a couple minutes. If anybody has any questions, they can submit them in the question chat window. We do have another webinar coming up at 3 o'clock. It's our 3rd startup online pitch event. If you're interested in startups or interested in learning about some of the latest companies, please join us. I submitted the link in the chat window. Chris, as we're waiting for any last questions, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Sure.
Any thoughts or predictions for, you know, what does 2015 look like for the SEO reputation management world? What's the biggest issue? What's the biggest issue you think you're going to struggle with in 2015 in terms of your industry?
Well, I still don't think anybody has a clue with regards to what they're doing in this space, and I believe that people believe that, you know, Google is a you know, predictive 8-ball, you know, that can read people's minds and give them what they need. So I think that even in a world where there are a lot of experts in the field, I think that there are still there's a lot of opportunity, and once people feel empowered to start taking back their own reputation online, even at a very small level, even as they learn, I think that there'll be a little bit more empowerment. I think that up until now, the web has been really invisible to people, and it's really democratic, and there's a lot of opportunity to participate. And Google's pretty cool. It keeps on batting down conspiracies of ownership. So even when there's you constantly see revisions to the algorithm that give back power to the regular guy. So um, everybody listening to me, though, they need to turn things around, and you need to turn Google into your trusted hound. You need them to help. You need to give them the content and the engagement to allow them to help you, because all they want to do is be your loyal friend. But if you don't give them what they need in terms of content, in terms of engagement, in terms of text, and honestly, in terms of a responsive enough server, um, Google's going to just try its very best and end up giving all the spoils to the people who put a little bit of money, time, and attention into optimizing, halfway to them.
Okay.
But I don't know what's going to be different. I don't see any revolution happening. I know that Google Plus is foundering even more. I know that Twitter is still popular. I know Facebook is still dominant. What do you think?
Actually, I haven't thought about it too much, to be frank, at this point. But and thanks for turning it around on me. Um, but since we're at the top of the hour and we're out of time, I'm not forced to answer that.
Awesome.
But Chris, thanks very much today. Again, very enlightening and informative. Everyone, thank you for joining us. This will be online on the site in a couple of days. The last presentation is there now, and you can watch it if you want. And we wish you all a happy holiday, and we will see you in the new year. Take care.
Thank you.